Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to be doing a pattern hack for my newest no-me pattern for summer 2025. This is ME2123. So we will be hacking the shorts today, which you'll notice has a ruffle along the waist as well as along the hem. And I know not everyone is a ruffle person, so I thought I would show you how you can get rid of it. So I will be making this pair of shorts here. As you can see, not a ruffle in sight. First we will be reducing the top edge to eliminate the ruffle up there, and then for the hem we will be lengthening it a little bit to make up for the length that's lost with the ruffle gone, and then we'll finish it by creating a facing. So why don't we just get into it? Let's go. Okay, we are going to work with just the front for now because the changes we're going to make are the same for the front and the back. So I'm just going to show you on the front. So I took my front pattern piece and I traced it out onto new paper. Make sure you add all the notches, small dots, the buttonhole. You can ignore these lines right now, the fold line and the stitch line. Okay, so first let's work on the waistband. If we want to remove the ruffle here and have only the casing left, like this, we need to remove this from the top of the pattern. This ruffle is 3/4 of an inch, but it's on the fold, so we need to remove 1.5 inches. So this will be the new fold line, and that is that. Okay, moving on to the hem. So we want to eliminate the ruffle, but I don't think you really want to lose any length because they are kind of pretty short already, especially since it curves up to the side. It's pretty short at the side. So we don't want to lose the length. So the ruffle adds 1.25 inches to the length. So we want to add that on to the hem all the way around. So I'm going to just 1.25 inches. And then make sure you transfer this notch that's on the hem as well down to the new hem. Okay. So that is no longer the bottom of the pattern. This is. Okay, so I've traced the new lines of the pattern in blue so you can see this is no longer part of the pattern and this is no longer the hem. This is not the hem. So the other thing we have to do on the bottom, since we are not sewing on a ruffle, is we have to finish that hem. You could just turn it up because it is a little bit of a curve. I would prefer to make a facing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back now and I'm going to add 2 inches. I'm just going to mark 2 inches at the top. So this dash line here is my 2-inch mark. That's going to be the facing. Okay, I have marked the facing in red. So what you're going to do is you're going to now retrace 2 pattern pieces. You're going to retrace everything in the blue here. That is your front short. Then trace just the red. That is going to be your front short facing. Okay, so here we have our 2 new pattern pieces for the front and the front facing. I forgot to mention in the beginning when you were transferring all your notches and everything, make sure you transfer that grain line, and then you can also make sure you get that right on the facing as well. So I've repeated the process with the back pieces. So I have my front and my front facing and my back facing, and I have transferred all the marks. The last thing you need to do with the back, I'm going to go back to my original pattern piece here. there's the two small dots that indicate where you should leave it open for the elastic. I'm gonna now, it's not gonna, the whole pattern piece won't line up, but I'm gonna line up the corner, like the top edge with my new top edge of my new piece. Line it up, and I'm going to transfer these two small dots. And that will be the new spot where you keep an opening for your elastic. So that is it for our pattern hacking. Now to cut out your fabric, you will cut 2 of your front, 2 of your front facing, 2 of your back, and 2 of your back facing, as well as 4 of your original pocket piece. Okay, so you can go ahead and assemble your shorts according to the pattern directions. So you'll be doing the buttonholes, the pocket bags, then you will sew the side seams, the inseam, and then sew the 2 legs together. So that's where we're at. And make sure when you sew the center back that you do leave that open between the 2 notches. So we are going to do the waistband next, which is very similar to how it's done regularly in the pattern instructions. So you're going to fold under the edge by 3/8 of an inch, and then you're going to fold again by 1 inch, press, make sure at the front you are catching the edge of the pocket bag here, so you'll fold over 1 inch, catch the pocket bag, press that, and then stitch close to the edge. And once that channel is sewn, you can insert your elastic through the opening here, just like in the instructions, and then once that's in, you can insert your drawstring through the buttonholes, also following the instructions. So our top edge waistband is done. We are going to move on to the hem facings. So if you remember, we have separate facing pieces for the back and the front. Now, make sure, now the front one has a notch, whereas the back does not have any notches. So make sure you transfer that notch on the front so you don't confuse them. So you're going to take 1 front and 1 back, and with right sides together, you are going to sew along the 2 short ends 5/8 of an inch from the raw edge, here and here. Okay, so after you have sewn them together on the 2 short ends, I pressed the seams open for both of those, and then along the top edge of the facing, which is the long edge opposite of the notch, the long edge without a notch, you need to press that under about 1/4 of an inch to 3/8 of an inch, somewhere in there, along the entire top edge. So then take your shorts right side out. You have your notch here on the front of the hem. Slide your facing, slide the shorts inside the facing, and then with the raw edges, line up that notch, line up the side seam and inseam, and then pin all the way around. Okay, so that is pinned on all the way around, front and back. Now I'm just going to go in and around the entire hem, stitch it together 5/8 of an inch from the raw edge. After you've done that, just press the facing, so here it was like this, press the facing and the seam allowance away from the short. So seam allowance and the facing pressed away, and then understitch along the facing through the seam allowance, understitch close to the seam line, about 1/8 of an inch away. So what the understitching does is, once you turn this facing under, it prevents the facing from rolling out to the front and keeps it all nice tucked in under in. So now what you're going to do is just take that facing, fold it to the wrong side, give it a good press all the way around the hem, pin in place, and then sew close to the folded edge of the facing. So facings are stitched on. You will have some visible stitching from the outside there where you stitched it on, but that's it. That is your curved hem with no ruffle.